Huh, those two side ones didn't seem to do anything. Does the middle? Okay. That takes the whole thing apart. Do not do what I just did. Leave those screws in there alone. Okay, people, welcome back to... hold on. Adjusting. There we go. Today, let's take a look at the ThreeZero DLX Marvel Studios Infinity Saga Avengers Age of Ultron Iron Man Mark 44 Hulkbuster. Special thanks to ThreeZero for sending this out. Let me take a look at it, because out of all the Marvel stuff we've seen, and even all the Transformers stuff, this is the one I've been waiting for, because it's Hulkbuster. And he's large. Artwork is just downright beautiful with the embossed gold having a shine to it. I'm pretty sure this is the figure itself. One would think it's like from the movie or something, but no, that's toy. It's some logos and more logos and more logos. Words. On the other side, all those words just in a different order. Oh, and there's some of that gold right there. Shining. Elegant. Plus the unpiratable hologram sticker. So heavy. On the back, a nice graphic of Hulkbuster, some information, their home address. Batteries are not included, requires AG1. And yeah, if you go find the compatible battery, the Energizer 364 at a place like Walmart, they sell them one at a time. And this takes 7. We're gonna have some fun. On the other side, again, with the words and the gold. Top, same thing. Bottom, lots more words and warnings and choking hazards. Small parts may cause harm if swallowed by children, not by adults. Bon appetit. And then there's a flap on the front that you can open up. You get more nice graphics. And then the figure itself. Oh, and that's a magnet clasp too. There's a magnet there and there. But let's... that was supposed to slam. It's almost intimidating. Like you're looking through murky waters and there's eyes staring back at you. Good grief. There's an instruction manual. You gotta take some screws out. Yeah, the backlighting. Looks like some panels move and get out of the way, and it's telling you not to crash, which is standard with the DLX instructions. Does the damn thing transform? Arm taser. Shoulder and elbow movement just warning you, do not crash. There's foam protectors between the arms. So fancy. The hole for the shoulder pad has a key in it. So it has a neutral position. You can still move it, but it's going to lock into that spot. I'm guessing these are symmetrical. And it's crazy. You would think this is die cast. This is actually plastic. But look at the shine on it. Yeah, I had to double check to see whether these are upside down or not. They go this way. You know how you anticipate an action figure and you think, okay, when I get it, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and this. For this, I was not prepared. I had no idea. And I've messed with DLX Transformers, and I've messed with the DLX Iron Man, and they all have some interesting engineering going on and stuff, but this takes all of that and just amps it up. I mean, when you look at a figure like this, you think, oh, it's a big chunky boy. He's not going to be able to move around much, but ThreeZero said to hell with all that. We're going to take care of you. Before we get into articulation and all that kind of good stuff, just look how seamless this looks. Of course, you can see points of articulation where really a suit of armor in the real world would have gaps and stuff because of movement. But just in a neutral stance, just standing here looking like a badass, it just stands there looking like a badass. It's going to be impossible to film this without some glare. That's just the nature of the beast whenever you get this shiny a finish on a figure. Look how deep the red is. I mean, it's just, oh, it's almost lickable. Then the tiny details like these silver points right here and the silver running here and the gold mixed with the silver. I'm going to say silver, red, and gold about 500 times. It's not only that, the inner workings, or what would be the inner workings of an exoskeleton like this, of a mech like this. These piston looking things at the elbow with the cable running through the shoulder, underneath the shoulder pad. I mean, there's detail under detail. It's hard to get everything shown. The shoulder joint being that gray does stick out a bit, because surrounded by all those different colors, the silvers, there's inner workings in there, but there's not. That's just like a facade to hide the inner articulation. Here around the neck, I mean, look at the silver inside the helmet. Coming around, more silver, more gold, more red. Everything's so clean. There's no paint bleed. I've been messing around with this for a bit now, and I haven't noticed any paint rub or any chipping or anything yet. With as much movement and moving parts on this thing, there's bound to be some rub. The ass piece and coming down to these panels on the side, which come into play in articulation. The back of the knees, like the front of the elbows, looking like they have moving parts in there. This is the back of the leg, actually. It's kind of hard to tell when you get up this close, but these not lighting up like other parts of the body is a bit disappointing. I actually don't know how you would put batteries. Well, we'll get to that. There's some moving parts down here too, because there's these headlights. Well, I guess those would be shin lights. Again, those don't light up, but they're still cool looking. Big feet because you got to, and there's back toes to keep it from tipping over, because with the die cast, with the plastic and how big this thing is, it needs that. It's part of the design. It just happens to work in toy form too, to keep it stable, to keep it on its feet. The fists out of the package, no moving fingers, but they are rubbery, so you're not going to snap them off if you're grabbing them, moving them around. But again, even on the palm, silver, red, a little bit of gold. On the inside of the forearm, some silver squares and such, detail work. Top of the thigh, I can't get over it. I mean, every time I look at it, different parts, different pieces, clean. That's the word that comes to mind when I look at stuff like this. Just so clean. Now, I am going to attempt to go over articulation. I may miss something because there's so much stuff going on here. Plus, it's a little hard to film in my regular booth. It's such a big boy. There's a ball joint going up into the helmet with a rod going down to the base with a hinge on it, so you can extend this up. Some looking up, some looking down. Is it running into something? Yeah, you got to kind of miss the inner neck. Some tilt and some tilt. Actually looks side to side. And that looks floppy. That comes into play in a minute. The shoulder pad out here rotates. The inner shoulder pad is also on a double hinge, and that exposes the inner joint that goes up like that, or it goes forward, or forward. Well, it angles forward and up. Outside of that is the pin that allows the arm to go all the way around. Hinge on the outside of that brings the arm up to here, and notice the shoulder pad getting all out of the way. The silver shoulder ball goes into the bicep, and that rotates at that point. Double elbow. The top hinge comes up to about right there. Then there's the bottom hinge that will come up to here. But check this out. The forearm cover is spring-loaded, so it gives you just a little bit more range when you come up this far. Stay on camera. Look at that. Ball joint at the wrist gets you some back, some in, some up, some down, rotation. And then here's one of my favorite things with ThreeZero. There is a torso joint that gets you some tilt to the side, some crunch at the top, right there. Another one at the waist that gets you to there. Did you think Hulkbuster would be that crunchy? And the beautiful thing about it is it never breaks in the back. There's like sculpt that goes up into the moving parts. So it comes down to there, and then that goes to there. Hey, it could have gapped up. It doesn't. It's just beautiful engineering. And then those joints also rotate a little at the top, more at the bottom. And you already see this popping out right here. That's to get out of the way of leg movement or extra rotation here. The hips, there's all kinds of stuff going on. There is a drop down, then the leg assembly also ratchets down. Pin on the outside of that brings the leg forward to about right there. Well, shit, look at that. There's another one of those fake lights on bottom. Rotates back. Holy moly. Better than some Spider-Mans. Below all that is a thigh swivel where the ball meets the armor and hidden by that armor. Double knee, and as you bend it, see this panel moving down right here? That's the top hinge. Get to the bottom hinge, bring that on around, and then that panel on the back also kind of moves out of the way. So you get that much. He's not kicking his own ass, but valiant effort. Again, with that inner sculpt, not allowing the joint to break. There's something to look at under there too. As you come back up, that panel moves back up. That back panel moves back into position. I do have trouble with these hip covers staying in position. They like to pop away. After everything else that's on here, it's not a big problem. Down at the feet, there is this panel on the front of the ankle that moves around on a ball joint. Keeps everything hidden, but the whole foot assembly drops down. And with that, you get some back, forward, tilt, and then some tilt. And again, like everything else, you gotta remember to push it back in there. And then to finish it all off, because of this getting out of the way, there is a toe joint that goes up to about right there. For accessories, there are two fists, and I haven't actually done this yet, but they should just pop right off. There's a ball joint. There are two relaxed hands, and then there's repulsor hands that are kind of sculpted with their own kick at the wrist. So you can make it look like, He's blasting away. You big bastard. These on the outside do something. You bring this cover down, and then you rotate it back on a double hinge. This extends out. This extends out. It has this on the end. I don't remember this in the movie. There was so much going on, and it has been a little bit since I've seen Age of Ultron, but that's a cool feature. And then they also show it to just move this cover open, and it shows that. Again, I don't remember exactly, but if you want to do the same thing on this side, you can also rotate this up, bring these down, bring these out. Then there's the feature with the Mark 43, and we're going to take this and put this in here, but not completely. I had forgotten that this actually pops apart here. I don't know if I'd ever done this, but the elbows pop out of the upper arm. Left with that. Then on Hulkbuster, take the shoulders, you move these out like this, unclasp these 4 tabs that kind of hold everything together. Shoulder pads are also on a double hinge, which is crazy. It took me a while to figure out how to get these to actually move. These chest panels flip down, and the instructions call for this to pull out, which I was scared as hell to do, but it's not really necessary to get to the inner workings. That does give you an extra little drop to those chest pieces. These 2 center pieces flip out, but they kind of run into each other and you get kind of squirrely with it. What I've been doing is just taking the head and pulling up the assembly there, and then taking these and you just drop the Iron Man torso and head in there, and whoa. It doesn't have a lock to it. There's no pin, just a cat piece down in there that is shaped like that thing. It sits in there, but once you get the head down, which amazingly enough, it goes all the way down, doesn't get in the way. He's actually looking out the helmet of the Hulkbuster. And then you take these to lock that headpiece down. Well, I say lock, you can pull it up either way, but it helps keep it in place when you're moving around, articulating, posing. Flip these up. There's also tabs up here. You want to kind of angle these. Well, not get in there. You want to angle them like that and push them into it, like so. Button the chest back up. Swing these back, and you're Hulkbustered up. You're also left with this, just laying around. That's a beautiful feature. It is innovative. I love the look of it. It works perfectly, but I probably won't leave Iron Man in there. Take this. Those 2 side ones didn't seem to do anything. Does the middle? That takes the whole thing apart. Wow, that whole thing is held together by that center thing. Where the hell's the light? Okay, do not do what I just did. Leave those screws alone. Where the cover actually is here. Those are the screws you remove. Take out the assembly. Never know which way these batteries go, so I usually jam them in one way. Button. Oh, okay. Cool. Then here on the back, way easier. There's just this cover that comes off. There's 1 screw back here. Those 3 in. Test it. Oh, that's crazy. That button will be hidden under this, which, no, it doesn't. You got to pull the cover to turn it on. And then in the head, and this is a bit scary. There's that rod in there, and it's a very tight pop to get it off the ball joint. Oh, there we go. That's the switch, but I can't get the light to turn on and off with that switch. It looks like it's too far away. If I push this forward and click it, it turns on and off. And once it slides back just barely, it won't engage. So what I'm going to do is wedge it forward just slightly. Sweet. Popping it back on is pretty easy. You got the socket, you have the ball on top. You can push from here and give it a solid push. There's that. There's that. And there's that. Very faint on the back. I'm guessing there's like 1 LED on each side. The real power is up front. Super bright arc reactor, and then up at the eyes, just like a good Iron Man should. Size-wise, this thing is big. Up to the top of the head in this position, it's about 11 5/8. And shoulder pad to shoulder pads, about 8 inches. Which looks fantastic with the ThreeZero DLX Mark 43. Match made in heaven right here. That figure is more 7-inch scale. Even though it's advertised as 1/12, it's quite a bit larger than your Marvel Legends Iron Man, wherever the hell this thing, there it is. Up against it, it's like half a head taller. But this is Hulkbuster. This still works here. It's supposed to be a big Hulk and Iron Man armor. Here it is next to the Marvel Legends. Did I pop drop a shoulder pad? Where the hell did that thing go? Marvel Legends Ironmonger and the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Hulkbuster. Ooh. Actually, I just looked it up. The armor in Age of Ultron is said to be 11 feet. So this is just slightly taller, which means he's going to put a beating on regular Hulks. Like, I think that's the SH Figuarts. And then the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure with some custom eBay clothes on them. But if you don't mind mixing and matching your movie and comic book stuff, here's a Marvel Legends comic book Hulk and then Crimson Dynamo. Or the Marvel Select Titanium Man, because I really like that figure. And ooh, shiny green against shiny red, silver, and gold. One more time, I had to fit it in. I was doing edits and realized I forgot to do a comparison with some older ThreeZero DLX figures. Here are Optimus Primes from the Bumblebee movie and Revenge of the Fallen. Just look at the crazy detailed sculpt work here. This company is insane. So at the end of the day, I'm not quite sure there's anything else I can say here. It's just a big hunk of action figure that is freaking amazing. The sculpt, the paints, the finish, the engineering, the electronics, the movement, everything just comes together so perfectly. All for a price tag of $250. The Mark 43 and now the Mark 46 that went up for pre-order this past week, or it's up right now, these are $100 a pop. And with everything involved in those, it feels like it's completely worth it. Hulkbuster, I gotta think there's 4 times the metal and plastic used here for the price of 2.5 of these. That's a hell of a deal, I feel like. There's so much going on here. And the durability. There were several times where I thought, oh, you're gonna mess this thing up. I got things caught, I cranked on stuff, I forced, you saw me take it apart in the middle when I shouldn't have, when it wasn't meant to. I got it all back together. Some of the electronics was tricky. I didn't realize you just pop that port. It's still here. It's still together. Get yourself a Hulkbuster. That's all I can say. If you enjoyed this review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. Now, the problem becomes, where the hell am I gonna put this big bastard? I was already having enough trouble displaying the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Hulkbuster. This has to be the centerpiece of my MCU shelf, right? You put this in the display, and then you put everything else around it.